Anti-Islamic sentiment is growing in Germany as well. Monday night, 25,000 rallied in Dresden, defying the government's calls not to attend the controversial event. Now, organizers of the group Pegida are accused of inciting hatred against refugees and foreigners. There were also rival rallies held across Germany, reportedly dwarfing the Dresden demonstration. Now, for more on the sensitive issue of Islamophobia in Europe, let's go to London and talk to journalist and filmmaker Cerie Bullivant. Cerie, it's very good to have you with us here on RT. So we've seen thousands of protests against Islamophobia at the same time, thousands joining in on anti-Islamic rally. How deep is this divide across Europe?
Well, this is becoming one of the defining issues of culture and multiculturalism within Europe at the moment. We see this massive swing to the right. Even before the attacks in Paris, there was talk of Le Pen possibly being in the presidential runoff. Her position could well be strengthened by what's happened. And we see in Germany massive anti-Islamic protests going on. And I'll be honest, it's generally not helped by the mainstream media constantly putting on well-known Islamophobes and people with a deep hatred of Islam like Douglas Murray all of the time.
Now, the German Chancellor Angela Merkel has apparently changed her stance on the issue quite drastically. Now, back in 2010, she said that the policy of multiculturalism has utterly failed. But now, just yesterday, she said Islam belongs to Germany. Now, what's behind this U-turn, do you think?
Well, we've seen this sort of hypocrisy coming from David Cameron as well. In his very famous speech, he said that the experiment multiculturalism has failed. And then when we saw Fox News talking about how Birmingham was entirely Muslim, he talks about suddenly that Birmingham is a city of many faiths and many individuals, and we applaud that. The fact of the matter is that they don't have a clear policy. There is no clear, defined position on what to do with the Muslims in Europe. They're not sure whether they want us here or whether they don't. And they flip-flop backwards and forwards on the 2 points, highlighted by the fact that this whole freedom of speech debate that we're having doesn't even apply to the Muslims.
Let's talk about your case. You've already been exonerated after being suspected of terrorism yourself. Now, how did it feel being treated as a terror suspect?
Well, this is the thing. Because of the laws in the UK, you can be treated as a terror suspect, as I was, without ever being told what you're accused of. For 2 years, I was under house arrest. I was constantly searched and treated as a criminal. And they didn't even tell me what my crime was. I wasn't even told what I was accused of because of secret evidence. These are the sort of British values that we're expected to adopt when they're not even adopting them themselves. I think that what we all need to do is return to our core values, and these are shared core values of respect for each other and respect for society.
Now, how's the Muslim community in the UK where you are, and I suppose across Europe, feeling in the wake of the French terror attacks?
Well, to be honest, for the last 10 years, the Muslim community has been feeling more and more under pressure. Every time something like this happens, there's a new raft of counter-terrorism legislation that only affects the Muslim community, and the pressure just keeps on building and building and building. There are many people who have said to me in private that they're looking at potential of moving outside of Europe to places where they'd feel safer. Now, that in and of itself is crazy. The fact that, once again, like in the beginning of the 20th century, we have a minority group that don't feel that Europe is safe for them. We have, again, the rise of racist marches in countries like Germany and a swing to the right again. It's a very worrying set of events all across Europe.
Cerie Bullivant, a UK-based journalist, thank you very much for your thoughts on this.
Thank you very much for having me on.